Hello, everybody. Welcome, all of you. I am trying to just resolve the connectivity issue at my end, but uh, while I try and do that, let's just begin and talk about what is it that the session today is all about. Why is it that we are having a precursor, a session which is like more of a precursor before we actually start with your 3 day boot camp, which starts from tomorrow, right? So before we begin, I'd like to remind you we have this 3 day boot camp. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we have the boot camp from 2 to 5 p.m. And then on Monday, we have it from 6 to 9 p.m. I hope, 7 to 10 p.m. I hope all of you are going to be there. And we are excited to have a set of insightful 3 days. There's going to be a lot of resources that we are going to be sharing in the coming 3 days, a lot of information that is going to be very, very useful, very, very insightful for all of you. Okay, so this session is basically, like I said, is a precursor to the session that we are going to be, the 3 sets of sessions that we are going to be having from tomorrow. Right. So today I just wanted to come here and talk with you guys and take any questions that you might have with respect to what we are going to be discussing in the boot camp, or the ID positions in general, right? So that is what I'm here for. This is an AMA, so you can ask me anything that you want answers to. I would basically answer your questions. I would also let you know that what part of it will be discussed in further detail in the boot camp itself, right? So before I start taking all your questions, you can start putting your questions in the chat box. But before I do that, I would quickly like to give you certain background of what it is that we are talking about, right? So the thing is that I believe most of you are over here that have joined are retired professionals or are about to retire. Quickly in the chat box, you could let me know if that is the case. Are you guys retired? Are you on the verge of retirement? Are there any professionals maybe with 15, 20, 25 years of experience are looking to, again, thinking of ways, thinking of things that they are going to be doing once they are going to basically, be retiring, right? So this is something that I believe most of you, the kind of category that most of you belong with, right? You must have spent 25, 30, 40 years building, your specific careers, your specific niches, your experience, right? You might have led teams, you might have closed certain deals, you would have navigated through certain crises, right? And now you're either retired or you're approaching it, or you're quietly asking, what does the next innings really look like for you, right? So the thing is that a lot of people are not talking about this yet, but retirement in India today is not something which should have to be like an ending to your career. It could in fact be the gateway to the most valuable phase of your professional career. Yes, that is what we are talking about, and I'll show you tomorrow how there is this massive opportunity, there is this massive gap which lies in India. Mostly everything is saturated, right? All the opportunities are saturated. There are so many people trying out the one same thing, right? There are so many people after the one same thing, and there is so much saturation, there's so much competition. But what we are going to be talking about over the next 3 days is something which is fairly unsaturated as of right now. But the thing is that we have to act quick, right? So we'll basically show you how you four high value, prestige rich, part time opportunities designed for people with your specific experience, right? That is basically what independent director recruitments, are. And you can basically serve on boards, you can have advisory positions with startups and accelerators. You could basically go for board roles with NGOs and foundations, and leadership positions in industry associations, right? Each play well, basically each is well. First of all, this is something firstly which is part-time. Secondly, this is something which pays really, really well, right? And it builds your reputation, and basically is something that makes you work in an ecosystem which is thriving through and through. right? So that is basically what id positions are all about, and we are going to be talking about this in much great detail, right? But to give you some numbers, which again I'll be going into much more detail tomorrow, but India as of right now needs 30,000 independent directors in access. This basically, there is a gap of 30,000 independent directors as we speak, and another 1 lakh independent directors will be required in the next 5 years itself. And there are people who are not preparing for it. This massive opportunity lies, and this gap will keep on increasing over and over throughout the years. But people who will act quick, people who will start preparing for such positions, will of course get the benefit of it, and that is what we are going to be talking about. Companies want, and you know what, there are over 60% of the people who are being appointed as independent directors, they are first timers. They are the people who are serving on boards for the first time. That again means that there is a massive requirement of independent directors. Companies are not really looking for people who have already served on boards as independent directors. Most of the people who are being appointed as independent directors year on year are doing it for the very first time, right? What does this mean? This means that again you could be one of them, maybe in the next in the next few years, or in the coming year itself, or maybe this year if you start preparing on time, right? So that is basically what all of this is about. And now I would like to tell you how much independent directors are really earning. On the ceiling, independent directors in India are earning up to 3 to 6 crores per year. Yes, these are not inflated figures. I'll again show you tomorrow screenshots from specific resources which specify that independent directors in India are earning 3 to 6 crore a year. We will also talk about how it is that they are making this happen. And this is basically the ceiling. But even on an average, independent directors who are starting out are comfortably earning 20 to 30 lakh rupees per annum. We'll also see how it is that they are making this happen, right? And I'm not again just saying this. There are people who have been who are getting these appointments, who've been able to again get started, who are first timers and are able to do it. We have a lot of examples which we will share over the set of 3 days, which will inspire you through and through, right? Okay, so I can see there are a lot of you are asking a lot of questions, and I will answer your questions. Before that, let me just quickly share what is the agenda that we have for the 3 days, right? So on day one, we will be talking about what the exact opportunity is and what is the gap, right? Who's eligible for ID positions, what are the real earnings, and how to crack the IICA exam. On day two, we will be looking at the Brahmastra, which is our signature 3-step strategy, which will help you land your first appointment as an independent director. This is something which has helped a lot of our students, and this is something which could help you as well. Plus the 5 pillars of a personal brand. Then on day three, we will be talking about how you can network with CFOs, company secretaries, merchant bankers. How can you spot IPO worthy companies? How can you basically get PR coverage? How can you publish your own book using AI to accelerate all of this? Plus, how to walk into your first board meeting with confidence, what really to do, which will make you prepare for your first board meeting. All of this is something that we are going to be talking about across a period of 3 days, right? So that's a background that I had to give. Now I will take your questions. All right, just give me a minute. There are a lot of questions. I'll quickly start going through these questions, and then I will basically answer them one by one, right? So Sayed is saying that he has been a research manager in a tech firm, market research. Okay, this is not a question. This is just Sayed giving his background. How would skill arbitrage help in preparing for exam? Whether you will provide study materials. So right now, all you have to do, Alok, you've asked this question, Alok Mathur, all you have to do is just come and attend the boot camp over the period of next 3 days. We will clarify all of doubts. How is it that we help? Basically, now right now, just focus on this set of 3 days. You will get a lot of information across the 3 days, right? And that is the help that we are providing as of right now. So right now, let's just focus on the boot camp that we are going to be conducting from tomorrow, and then let's take it on from there. All right. So that's that. What are the price of ISC exam? So basically, the ISC exam, you have to register. You have to pay 5,000 rupees plus GST as your as the fee for registration. Once you register, it's a completely online exam. Soumya, you've asked this question. It's a completely online exam. What you have to do is you can basically appear for the exam over a period of 1 year once you register, once you give a fee of 5,000 rupees plus GST. And then you can give the exam at any point of time. There are very convenient slots which are available, and believe me, the exam is pretty easy to crack, right? Engineer professional, okay, so this is just an observation. I am looking for uh, more questions. What exactly is this concept? So, Kulbhushan, independent directors are people who are to be appointed by companies, listed and unlisted companies, falling within certain brackets. And these people are fairly independent in nature. They are not really a part of the board like the internal committee itself, but they are people who are again independently serving on the boards. They are paid specific sitting fee for every meeting that they attend. They are mandatorily required to be appointed by these companies. This is a SEBI requirement. Under law, companies are required to appoint these independent directors, right? That is what we are talking about. And independent directors can serve on multiple boards at a time. What we are going to be talking about across 3 days is how you can utilize your specific experience to get appointments. What we are also going to be talking about, firstly, is that how there is a massive gap which exists currently, how there is a certain requirement of independent directors, a massive requirement of independent directors today as we speak, and how this requirement is going to be increasing, how this gap is going to be increasing more and more over the coming years. But how people who are going to act quick can leverage this gap and can get appointed. These positions are very lucrative, right? So we are going to be talking about all of this, Kulbhushan. I hope that you got the concept, you got the background, right? Soumya saying 37 years of experience of Indian power sector, including green energy. So, okay, so we are going to be talking about how no matter which niche you belong with, there is a board seat there for you somewhere. You just have to look for it, right? So, of course, firstly, there are specific niches that you might belong to, and you might end up serving on a board of a company which also falls within the same area. For instance, you have a background in agriculture and you end up serving on a board of an agri-tech company, for instance, right? Other than that, also remember that it's not something. There might be people who might be asking or who might have this question, and I'm answering this once and for all, that your specific background is not something that absolutely is going to be a deciding factor for your appointment. There are people, I will share examples of people with you who are serving on these boards irrespective of what their specific background is. We have examples of army professionals who are now serving on boards of tech companies. We have examples of hoteliers who are serving on boards of media companies. So it is not something which absolutely is the case that your background, you have to look for companies within your background itself, right? Again, you have to build the right visibility for yourself. And once you're able to do that, you have to build credibility for yourself. Once you're able to do that, you are going to end up getting appointed by one company or the other. You just have to start working in that direction, right? We are going to be talking about in much more detail in the coming days about this, right? So that's that. Raghav is asking some light on the syllabus of the exam. So the exam basically mostly revolves around corporate laws, company laws, security laws, and so on and so forth. The exam is fairly easy. This is being asked by Raghav Rao and others as well. So the exam is fairly easy. It's a set of 50 MCQs, and it's something that most of the people who diligently study, let's say 1 to 2 hours a day over a period of 3 months, are easily able to pass with right guidance, right? So this is not something which is a very difficult exam to crack in the first place, right? Firstly, that. Then, secondly, since we are talking about it, somebody had asked the question of um, exemption when it comes to independent director positions, right? Sorry, the ISC exam. So there are exemptions available to certain categories of people, such as CS, CA, lawyers. But irrespective of the fact that whether any kind of exemption is available to you or not, we highly recommend that you still give the exam, because when boards are appointing independent directors, when companies are appointing independent directors, they are going to look at whether you have cleared the exam or not, and they won't care if you basically had that kind of exemption and that you exercised it or not. They will whether you've cleared it or not, and that is something that they consider to be a deciding factor to your appointment. So we always advise everybody, whether you're exempt or not, to still give the exam. It is fairly cheap and it is fairly easy to crack. So there is no reason for anybody, even if they are exempt from the exam, to not sit for the exam, right? So that is basically what we would suggest when it comes to giving the exam, right? So that's that. Um Neeraj, I hope I've answered your question, the subject matter with respect to what is going to be asked in the exam, corporate laws, security laws, and some basically laws with respect to, again, dealings of the companies, right? It is again something which is very easy. There are two sets of questions. There are straight up, MCQs, which are going to be very objective in nature, and then there are going to be some questions which will be scenario based, but both of them can be easily cracked with right practice, with right guidance, right? I will also share examples of the kinds of questions that are going to be asked in your exam. That is something that we'll also do tomorrow, so please do join in. We will share so much information that will be useful for all of you. And for now, what I want you to understand, what I want you to believe, is that this exam is very, very easy to crack. So you don't have to be scared of giving this exam, right? So that's that. Um, Whether independent directors have any vetting power in the board meeting. So yes, so basically, primarily the work of independent directors, again, something that a lot of you might have this question, is that you have to attend certain meetings, board meetings, as well as there can be certain committees within a business, within a company, that you might be a part of, and you have to attend those board meetings as well as committee meetings, and you're paid on the basis of the number of meetings that you're attending, right? So with that, just a second. Yeah. So with that, then what basically has to be, has to be looked at is certain, certain preparation that has to be done with respect to what is going to be discussed in the meeting. Of course, there will be an agenda which will be shared with you before every meeting. So you have to come prepared with respect to what the company should be doing, what your stance should be with respect to the agenda. And that is basically what you have to bring forth in the specific meeting, right? And it the company might require you to vet certain documents, but what basically needs to be done is that you have to again make sure that the company is taking care of certain compliances, right? There are certain compliances in place which the company has to be taking care of. So that is something that independent directors have to take care of, but this is not, again, something that you cannot learn or you cannot imbibe over a period of time, right? So again, this is something that is fairly easy to do. I will also again be talking about what exactly you have to do to be able to prepare for your board meetings. It is again not something that you have to be scared of. Most of you are professionals who are retired by now. You have a lot of experience behind you. If you can do all of that, you can definitely do this for businesses. There are so many people who are very young. They are starting out, these businesses. They are basically leading these businesses, but there is so much that they do not know about, and you can help them out with respect to all of that, right? And remember that there is still going to be an independent element to what you are doing, right? So that's that. Okay, I will further move on and look at other questions. Okay, so many people are saying that they are either retired or they have 20, over 20 or 25 years of experience, and or some people are about to get retired. So great, this is, I promise you, these set of 3 days are going to be very, very insightful for all of you guys. Right now you can see I'm just giving you, this is just the trailer, right? The film is yet to start, and there is so much that we have planned out for you. We will in fact even be provide, basically sharing very, very insightful skills with you guys over a set of 3 days, which you can perform yourselves as well. Right, so that's that. What's the main difference between an executive director and independent director? So okay, I'm not sure what your name is, but I'll answer the question. An executive director is very much a part of the company itself, right? So they could be, in fact, holding an executive position within the company. But an independent director is not a person who is involved in the day to day functionings of the company, right? They are, in fact, people who are serving boards, multiple boards at a time. They can serve up to 7 boards, they can serve up to companies, seven boards for different companies. So that is basically how there is this element of independence, right, in them, and they are advisors to the board. Basically, to say this in a nutshell, they are advisors to the board. And that's basically what the difference between an executive director and an independent director is. An executive director is very much included, is very much there within every decision of the company. Independent directors are only going to be responsible for the information that has been shared with them, right? So this also means, which brings me to the next point, this also means that independent directors are not liable for the day to day dealings of the company. If there's a fraud, for instance, independent directors, the good thing is independent directors are not going to be held liable for anything that the company is doing, any malpractices that the company might have been involved in, unless you were outrightly made aware of the same. This again is an advantage that independent directors have over executive directors or other board members, right? So that's that. Agni, ISC exemption details I've shared with you. Even if you are exempt, you're a lawyer or you're CA or you're a CS, even if you're exempt, we highly recommend that you still give the exam, because it is just not worth it to go for exemption. Boards are actually actively looking for people who have cleared the exam and not people who have just gone for exemption, right? So that's that. Let me see if we have any more questions. I am not looking at repeat questions, because I'm already answering those questions. So I hope that some of you, I've already answered the question. My voice is breaking. Is that the case? I hope you guys can hear me properly. The ISC, is the ISC exam mandatory? Yes. So I would say yes, it is mandatory. Even if you can seek exemption, like I said, you should not go for an exemption, right? Uh, okay. Subject matter we have already covered. Um, what else do we have which has not been taken yet? I'm just going through questions. Just bear with me. There are a lot of questions. So just give me 2 minutes. I'll go through the questions and see if there's anything that I have not covered yet. Mm. Is clearance of ICA will surely ensure appointment? No. So that is not the case. Okay. Basically, the thing is that you have to. Again, there are a lot of people who are already, who've already cleared the exam, who've already basically sat for the independent directors exam and have even cleared it. The thing is that you have to build your personal brand. There is a gap that exists. Just giving the exam does not ensure that you are going to be appointed as an ID. You've done something which was definitely very crucial, but there is more to it that you have to take care of, right? You have to also be building your personal brand, building a visibility for yourself, building a profile for yourself that speaks for itself. Right? What is your Google footprint like? When somebody Googles you, what do they come across? When somebody searches you on LinkedIn, what is the kind of profile that you have? Do you have any recommendations in place? How many connections do you have? Are you posting regularly insights which would be relevant for specific businesses? Have you published certain articles? Have you been on any podcasts? Have you been invited for guest lectures? All of these things matter a lot, right? You have to create that visibility for yourself. There should be a brand that you've built which speaks for itself. You don't have to be the one, again, doing all the talking. There should be a brand that you've built which speaks for itself. And that is what we are talking, that is what we are going to be talking about. That is what a personal brand is. And it might seem to be very intimidating at first, it might seem to be very overwhelming, but believe me, I will show you starting tomorrow how it is something that you can work on step by step every day. Sometime you can give to building your personal brand, and once you do that, it is a fairly easy process. Again, you have to invest certain time in it, but once you start doing it, believe me, personal having a personal brand will not just help you with board appointments, right? That is not the case. It can, once you basically have that kind of a personal brand, it will also open doors for other opportunities for you, be it investment opportunities, be it better paying jobs with respect to whatever it is that you're currently doing. Even people we have seen have gotten promoted in their existing jobs because they have worked on their personal brands, right? So personal brand doesn't have only this benefit of having this having helping you with ID appointments. It also helps you with it can also help you with a lot of other things, right, with respect to your career. So again, something which is very very crucial for independent director positions and otherwise as well. And you will see starting tomorrow how easy it is. You will wonder why is it that you've not already worked on it. I promise you, this is how you are going to be leaving feeling once you are here with us for the 3 days. All right. Let me move on and see what else, what other questions do we have? Any resource for these exams? So yes, ISEA has certain resources, but that do not really suffice. There are specific in the bootcamp also. We are going to be in fact sharing resources with you guys. We are going to be also sharing certain guides which will help you, Ashok. So do join us. We'll also share certain sample questions that will help you get started, which will which will give you certain idea as to how to approach this exam, right? And then you can again start preparing. You can basically take your decisions with respect to the same, right? So that's that. And let me just quickly see if there are more questions. So I might not have, okay, so we'll close just in 2 minutes, but I might not have answered all your questions. Remember, or everything that you've asked is something that is going to be covered across the 3 days. So don't feel disheartened if any of your questions have been left unanswered. I promise you all your questions will be answered. We have covered everything in what we are going to be talking about. Remember, these we are going to be spending a set of 9 hours talking about all of this with you guys. So be there with us over a period of 3 days, and I'll see you there. Before I close, let me just quickly scan and see if there's anything that um, that I should be talking about that I haven't. Mostly, I have covered everything that has been asked in the questions. So that's that. Is this for only Indian companies, or can we help to be an ID or global companies? So so in India, the thing is that you have to be. I'll talk about India. So in India, NRIs can function, can serve on boards for independent directors. Okay, can basically serve on boards as independent directors, but they have to have lived in India for a certain period of time, right? Similarly, if you're a completely foreign individual, you cannot serve on boards on Indian companies. So I would say the same is the case with other countries as well, right? You cannot serve as independent directors on boards of companies which are completely, foreign companies, which are existing in outside of India, if they established themselves as a company in India as well, then you can do that, right? With that, we will close the session, and we'll talk about this. Believe me, again, I will answer all your questions, um, across the 3 days. So do join us. I will repeat the timings. We have the session from 2 to 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and on Monday we have the session on from 7 to 10. If there's anybody who has not registered, we'll quickly also share the registration link in the chat box, and you can register if there's anybody who'd like the registration link. Noshina, can we please share it in the chat box? Shrikant, having a certificate from Institute of Directors will be sufficient? No, that's what we're talking about. Just clearing your exam is not enough. We will talk about how there is more you have to do to get ID appointments and how you can do that. All right. So we've also shared the registration link, guys. That's it from my end. I will see you tomorrow, and I hope all of you are going to be here, and we'll take it ahead from there. I promise it is going to be a set of 3 insightful days. I'll see you. It was nice chatting with all of you guys. Thank you for all your questions. And this is it. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good night.